All right, here we go. And again, guys, the replays will be in the emails. Okay, so definitely check those out. And every week, brand new Zoom code. Okay, boom, boom. Make sure you guys are all tuned up, ready to roar, and then we should be good to go. Let me set up my side here. Other than that, you guys been having a great week? Yeah,
Yeah.
good, good. I was so busy that I forgot to send out the email, so I just sent it out this morning. So I'm glad you guys got it.
I like your haircut.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you. I'm gonna go.
What made you decide to do that?
Nothing really. Just I just you know just same way I grew one, same way I took it off. Just cause. Yeah, and then yesterday I was sharing with everybody that yesterday my nails got painted. There, can you guys see that a little bit better? The design. I know.
I saw the picture you put on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Wild.
yeah. So my student, her family owns a nail salon, and that's where I do my nails. But I've been doing it for years. So then they asked me, I was like, "Hey Jones, have you ever painted your nails before?" I was like, "I mean, back in the day, like I used to airbrush, on my thumb only." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Then next, the two girls came right in. They just started painting, and I'm like, "Yeah, go for it, whatever." Then this morning, as I'm getting my hair cut, I was sharing with everybody that my hairdresser who comes to my home every Saturday morning to cut my hair, she's like, "Okay, da da da." She's getting ready to. I was like, "You know what? Just take it off." And she's like, "What? Okay, sounds good."
I was noticing you pick with your
Yeah.
nail, right? Your thumbnail.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. I use a thumbnail, and I actually use all my four. So I get them all done on five here. And then the thumb, this is just so it matches. There's no real reason there, you know. But yeah, brah. Okay, let's get into this song. So this song is actually very simple. All right, now I'm actually gonna put the chord chart in the what do you call this, chat. Okay, so go ahead and download it. So I hope you guys have access to it, but if not, it will be in Patreon. All right, boom. Okay, there's the PDF. Now when you download that, save that. I rarely do this, but that's okay. Let's go for it. So this was taken out of the Hawaiian Aloha book. Okay, so we're gonna learn this song together, and we're gonna talk about how we can use Dminish in this song. All right. So Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha is the name of this song. And Weldon Kekaoha is my favorite version, my favorite singer for this song. And he does a really gorgeous rendition of this song. And he also utilizes diminishes in his walk. Okay. So I thought, since we were talking about the diminished chords last week, this would be a great time to show where we could use it. So go ahead and save this song to your guys' computers. Now, on the very beginning, on the top, there are the chord charts. All right. So we'll go over the chords briefly. All right. And then work on fingering and basic position for a second. And then we'll get into the basic melody of this song. And we're just going to focus here on the first verse. Okay. That's all we're going to focus on it. We can even talk about language. We can talk about words and how to say it as well. But we're just going to really discover how we can take a simple song with C, G7, C, C7, very basic chords, and incorporate a diminish into this, and then make it sound much more cooler. All right. It really expands the sound. Yeah. It just takes it to a whole different type of pretty. And then it kind of really does conjure up this romantic melody when it comes to Mele Hawaii. Yeah. Hawaiian music. Okay. And these are definitely not the type of Hawaiian songs you find too much online, you know. Oh, did you, Randy? Nice. Oh, he worked at Hawaiian Air too? That's cool. Wow. So he's one of my favorite guys. He's probably like my favorite male singer. Oh, guy is so good. All right. So basic C chord. Yeah. A string, 3rd fret. All right. Now make sure your thumb is halfway down. All right. You want to make sure you can see right through your hand. Okay. Very important. Make sure you have all these things going for you. Make sure that your knuckle right here is up so it's not touching any other strings. Very good. Okay. Next chord is a G7. Right there, E1, C2, A2. Okay, very pretty. All right. And again, make sure you got space through that. Yeah, make sure you can see it. The next chord would be C7. Okay, and that's just in this one verse. All right. So 1st fret, A string. All right. So the melody sounds like this. Aloha, Hawaiiana, no. I Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha. All right, so it's a very simple, almost lullaby-ish, technically higher for me, so I gotta sing in that head voice. Plus, it's morning voice, so sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and start by incorporating. Now, we're just gonna do down strums for now. Okay, we'll keep it very simple. So, aloha, Hawaiiana, no. Okay, so when we are saying ana, okay, so aloha, ana. Now, when we're hitting ana, based on this note, this is where we can incorporate the Dminish to really shine out a little bit more in this song. Okay, so listen to the first one. Aloha, Hawaiiana, no. Very simple transition, right? Now this is with the Dminish. Aloha, Hawaiiana, no. So it adds this brightness to the melody. All right. So as I'm singing ana, that's when you're starting to transition to a Dminish, right at ae. So, and it's gonna land on ana. Okay, so it really broadens and sharpens and widens the sound. Okay, so now for our Dminish real quick. Let's go ahead and start here. G2, yeah. E2, C3, and the pinky is on A3. Okay. Now, for those of us who are familiar with the Hawaiian D7, I would definitely say shoot for the Hawaiian D7 first, and then ring finger and pinky after. Okay. That's a good way to really start memorizing your position. All right. So take a minute utilizing this chord, get familiar with it. It's a very strange one. I mean, your fingers, like anything, when you're learning a brand new chord, they feel like they're looking in different directions and they're like uncoordinated, right? So one of the best ways to really work on that is by placements, just working on placement. Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay, listen again to the difference. All right. Now you can go ahead and play along with me. You guys should have it open on your end. Now this is the straight one. Okay, here we go. Aloha, ayana, no, okay, back to C. Now that sounded okay, right? Now listen as you switch to your Dminish, how much more brighter it really lends to the melody, okay? Aloha, ayana, no, all right, so there's that small bright shimmer, right? And then instead of taking your chords off, one way you can really get to that G7 is simply slide it back. All right, okay, there you go. So again, there's no right or wrong way to hold chords, right? But we hold chords in certain ways just so it makes it easier for transition. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we can start with the Dminish. Ready? Now, most of us, we're pretty familiar. You can start with the up down, right? That's always the basic strumming. But if it causes too much thinking, just do the down. Okay? Aloha, ayana, no, okay? Or you can do your up down. Now, for those of us who want to be a little bit more colorful, we'll get into that thumb pattern. Okay? So down, up, stop, down, up, stop, down, up, stop, down, up, stop. Very good. Okay, so you guys can take that stuff and, you know, take the various learning, strumming styles that we've learned here and apply it, okay? You know, Hawaiian music is always the same, all right? Okay, here we go. I'll do the up, down, okay? So feel free to follow along. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and aloha, ana o na I ka makani kaulana o kaina. Now I snuck one right in between the C and the G7. Okay, so you can add a Dminish right between there. All right. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm focusing on. Okay, so you guys see the box on my verse? Yeah. Okay, very good. Now, right here in this one section right here where the C and G7 is, I could squeeze a Dminish right there. Okay, so C, diminish, and G7. So that would, in essence, become a walk. All right. And so what that would sound like, it would sound like this. Really pretty. It's a nice, short, clean exchange. Yeah. Nice, yeah? Very pretty. Okay. So, there's a bit of a hang in that note, you know. Now, this doesn't only happen in Hawaiian music. I use this a lot in 50s pop. Any form of ballad, you can incorporate a simple diminish, and it just makes it sound so much more flashier in the most mellowest, prettiest kind of way. All right. Okay. So as of right now, where the hand is in ae, ana, in this one space right here is one diminish. Okay. Do I have my pen thing here? Yeah, I do. Hang on. Let me figure this thing out. So right here is where I would incorporate one diminish. All right. Now I would incorporate another diminish here. Okay. So let's go ahead and play this together. All right. You guys ready? Get my screen size here. Here we go. So where you see these lines, that's exactly where we're putting them. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and aloha, ayana, no, Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha. So now I just try to fit the diminish in kaʻili. All right. Now I didn't like the way that sounded, so I'm gonna try and put it by Ka Makana. All right. So this is where I tried to put the diminish in kaʻili, but I think it might sound better here in Ka Makana. It's just taking your ears, familiarizing yourself with the melody that you're trying to create, and then being a little bit more experimental. And this is the part of music that I really want you guys to really experience, which is the creative side, right? So, Ka Makana, that sounded better. Okay, so instead of me changing, so this is what I did. This is the first one. Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha. Versus, this is what I'm gonna do. Ka Makana Kaʻili. So I held out on the Ka Makana. Okay, did you guys see that? Let me get this right. Her. So instead of doing the diminish here, I didn't like the way it sounded. So I did it right here at Ka Makana, Ka Makana, and I held the Ka Makana out. All right. I ended up taking like a pause or a break right here and just letting that note settle for a minute. And then I did the Kaʻili Aloha. All right. Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah. So taking a chord like this and experimenting a little bit with the sound really does well. Okay. So let's go over the lyrics real quick. Let's talk about words. All right. So, and
before you go there,
yes.
when you're trying to find out where the diminish, are you playing like 2 strokes of C, then do the C diminish?
From the Ka Makana area, or in general? In general, 4. Yeah.
4 time, right?
Yeah. 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 It's 4/4. Yeah. And that's another thing too, right? Whenever you have this style of music sheets, they don't have time signatures, right? So you can't really tell if it's a 3/4, 4/4. Yeah, exactly. And this is where, again, this is where the listening part comes in. You know what I mean? And counting. And so that's really good though. That's a great question. So, you can break it up in half. It depends when you're going to do it, right? You can have that diminish on the 2 if we're talking a 4/4 signature, right? Your diminish can land on the 2, or in some cases, the 4. You know what I mean? Or if it's kind of like a retarded feel, then it's a 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, as far as if you do the C for 2 strokes, you do the C diminish for 1 stroke, and then as you say down here, you want to let it ring out. That would be
Yes.
kind of like a rest. And then you
Yes.
play the next one.
Yes, exactly. And then you just let it go, right? Just let that note hang. You're right. And so if you have that type of counting mechanism in your brain already, like most of us do, right? We're always counting, yeah, in some form or fashion. That's the type of thing that you can apply to your creativity as well. When should you do the chord? Then, if you're familiar with time signatures, use the numbers, yeah. Now maybe it's a 1 rest, right? Diminish, and then rest again, a 1 and 2 and, or 3 and, right? So whatever your count might be, that's good. And I really encourage that creative side of it. Yeah, go ahead and play with it. Now, like I said, I did it here at the G7. I didn't like that at all. It didn't match my note when I was trying to sing, but when I pushed it back to the Ka Makana and held it, that matched. You know what I mean? So using your ear on how the diminish can really add to what you're doing, that's a huge thing. Okay. Any more questions about that? That was a great question. That was a great point to bring up. Yeah. So now another thing that affects our timing in Hawaiian music is the lyrics. Yeah. Now in all songs, no matter whether it be English or other, the way you say the word and how you say it, the timing in which you phrase, yeah, it matters, right? Your talking speech matters, how the words come out. You know what I'm saying? So even here in the words, you can hear whether there be a retard, a delay of some kind, or like a scoop or a fast count. So aloha ae. Okay, so this right here is a glottal stop in the middle of the A and the E, and so that is a break in the vowel. Okay, aloha ae. So there's a e. Okay, ana no. So when you have this line above, that is called a kahako, and that holds the o, it means long vowel. No. And then AU is au. Okay. Aloha ae ana no au. Yeah. Now this right here is a perfect example of crunching. Yeah. So it's not, so we're gonna say it, it's ka makani. I sounds like ka makani. But when you say it and you're singing it, it's ika. Yeah. So you crunch that. Yeah. Ika makani. Yeah. You see how fast you push it in there? So ika makani is how it's going to be sung. But when you pronounce it correctly, it's ika makani. The next one is kaulana o ka'aina. Now here, if you look here, you got an okina, right? A glottal stop before the A. That's the very first alphabet. And so you also have a kahako, which means you're holding it out. So I. That's where it's going with the AI. Ai. Yeah, aina. Aina. Okay, so there's a aina. Okay, that break and a long hold. But that's where it scoops into the ai. Yeah, so it's creating that I into the I. Okay, so aina. Yeah, and this is the Hawaiian word for land. Okay, so anytime you say aina aloha, it's been a very popular phrase here in Hawaii in the last couple of years. Love of the land, the land loves you, like, you know, you're closely related and tied to the land. Yeah, we are the land is us. Yeah, kind of stuff. Next one, au. Yeah, a, short a, glottal stop, u, au. All right. Now, this is a common word that you're going to see in many Hawaiian songs. There's a glottal stop between the O's, and that means ho, o. Yeah, ho, o. Okay. And ho, usually in most cases, it's representing an action, an actual doing or a perpetuation or magnifying of something. Yeah. A'u e ho'oheno nei. Okay, nei. Now going back to the next one, kamakani. Yeah, kaʻili. Now you see that glottal stop and that kahako again, they're together. Now this time the kahako is before the glottal stop. So it's ka, ili. All right, long A, short I. Okay, kaʻili Aloha. Now, in the beginning, it's always good to really say it, emphasizing the glottal stops or the holds. And as you get better at it, you can kind of like lessen the pronunciation, you know, like the enunciating of that one specific thing, because then it's much more prevalent in the way you say it already. You can kind of control it, right? Yeah. So, Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha. Okay. Makani is the Hawaiian word for wind. Yeah, or air. Yeah. Now this Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha, it's here. You see it, the love snatching wind. So in other words, to take your breath away. Yeah, representations. Yeah, you know. So if you go in here to the English, now this was done by Dr. Puakia Nogelmeyer. So because there are expressions that cannot be explained in English, we have to use the next best thing, right? And so it's no longer word for word translations. At times it becomes thought for thought. In other words, a translation that conjures the thought of what we're trying to say. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I express my love. E aloha a e ana no au. E aloha a e ana. Expression of love. Ana no au. Au is the Hawaiian word for me or I. Yeah. So that's what he's saying right there. So I am expressing my love, or I express my love. I ka makana kaʻili. So for the famous wind of this land. Okay, so now you're learning that in Hawaii we have multiple types of winds, and they all have a name. Okay, so if you come from a certain area or a certain location, they have certain types of winds that come in a certain way at a certain time, and they have names. All right, so this is a particular type of wind. Okay, so e aloha ai ana no au, I ka makana kaulana. Kaulana is the word for famous or well-known, something of stature. Okay, or majestic, beautiful. yeah, but commonly used for the Hawaiian expression of the word famous. Okay, o ka'aina, of the land. O ka'aina, the land. All right. A'u e ho'oheno nei. A'u, if you notice, it looks like au, right? But there's an okina in between. A'u is the Hawaiian word for me. Okay? Au, I, a'u, me. Okay? Same thing, different expression. All right? Ho'oheno ne. Yeah? So ho'oheno, to hold deep, to keep it very close. All right? Okay, is another expression. Ka Makana Kaʻili Aloha. That's the name of the wind. Okay? The love snatching wind. All right. So this is actually a very pretty song, a very nice ballad, something you want to sing to your sweetheart for sure. You know what I mean? Okay. But it also expresses the understanding of a home and this place's location, and what they're connected to. Yes, it is. Justin. Can. We'll talk about it after, brother. Yeah? Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's where we're at with that. All right. So we're gonna take into consideration first learning the melodies. Okay, so just play along with me, get familiar with it. All right, and strum along and go through it with me in the basics, and then after we will incorporate how to add the diminishes. Again, I've already marked where we're adding the diminishes. I want you guys to count or rock, right? Feel the music. Okay, start taking notes, being good observers. Now, again, nanakamaka holoi kapepea. Yeah, it's a Hawaiian, what do you call that? Saying, it's a proverb, right? Look with your eyes. Listen with your ears. Silent, close your mouth. Yeah? So, nanakamaka, yeah? Holoi kapepeao, pa'a kawaha. All right, here we go. Let's try it. Here we go. Basic strums. Here we go. Aloha, ayana, I ka makani, kaulana o ka'aina. All right, okay, now we're gonna incorporate the diminishes, all right? 1, 2, ready, and aloha, ayana, no, I ka makani, kaulana o ka'aina. See? One more time from the top. Aloha, ayana, I ka makani, kaulana o ka'aina. Aue o he Okay, how'd that go, guys? Not bad? Not bad? Okay, very good. So when you take a simple thing like this and then you incorporate something cool like a diminish, and again, this was just I was trying to think of Hawaiian songs that could utilize it without getting super complicated. This is just the easiest one that I could think of so soon. You know what I mean? Because it's just been a busy week. But I was like, okay, wait, how can we show another way to utilize the diminish, right? And how can we add to the diminish what we learned last week into a simple song? Now, a lot of the other stuff you might find them in 4 chord progressions, where F, D minor, B flat, C, right? Or C, A minor, F, G7, or C, A minor, F, F minor, G7. So, it can get kind of complicated the more chords you have within a song. You know what I mean? So I figured this was probably the easiest way to go about doing that. Okay, to really kind of test out what we can do with diminish. Now, diminishes, I will say, works best primarily with ballads, slower stuff. You know what I mean? Not so much in the upbeat stuff. I probably wouldn't do it. I mean, there are times where you can do it. But it does fit in every genre. It just depends on what type of melody you're creating here. But I think that's a fantastic way to incorporate our diminishes. Okay, I like that a lot. Boom, boom, boom. All right, anybody got any questions? Yes, go ahead, Trish.
As far as going from the C to the C diminish, would it be more prudent to play that C with your pinky so that it's already there when you go down to the diminish? Because you're doing it in 2-stroke, two.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Yeah. And then it's like for some of us, we become super familiar with chord changing over time that it doesn't matter. We can just use our ring finger. But in the beginning, in fact, actually, you know what? If I'm in the key of F, I would always place my pinky and never leave it. And that's a great way to look at it because you're moving it already, right? But sometimes it's for us, like if we're doing our C here, right? And then we're going into our diminish, that would work fantastic, but not all of us have the ability to keep our pinky in place. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that you could really work on. By keeping your pinky there, it teaches your other 3 fingers to really move. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it as well. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it definitely would make more sense to keep your pinky there for sure and utilize that from now on moving forward. Yeah, especially if you know that you're moving towards a diminish. Yeah, especially if you're going to go to a diminish. So once you're going to go to a diminished chord, use your pinky. Awesome. That's a great way to look at it. Anybody else got any questions? No? Okay, cool. We'll keep on talking about chords. Yeah. So next week we'll talk about a different shape and position and again, I know it's not commonly taught, and if you do learn it, it's usually within 1-on-1 private lessons. Yeah. And I'm just trying to figure out ways to take these chords and make it much more available. Yeah. Beyond the private lesson stuff too. So, but I'll have this video and everything in the email. So another thing that I'm doing is I'm revamping my website, guys. So the day that the emails come out, you'll have the links or the play alongs or the videos in there, but then at the same point in time, it's going to be on my website. All right, so you guys will be able to find it there. So you guys can always go back and find the public stuff right there on the website and just help yourself to it. You know what I mean? PDFs are still in Patreon. Everything else is there. But every so often, like I said, we jump in here and I'll throw in a sheet or two here and there once in a while. Okay? But other than that, guys, have a fantastic week. I have one more birthday party tonight, and then I'm officially done with the birthday thing. like, oh my gosh.